Hey, good morning, Shining Light Baptist Church, and all of our Facebook friends that watch. Welcome to Saturday edition of Light for the Day. We're in Psalm 55. It's a psalm of David. Now, you think of David's life. David was anointed to be king as a teenager and didn't assume the throne till in his 30s. David fought a very insecure King Saul, as he was his best man, really, in battle. Saul got jealous. David had to dodge the javelin. It affected his friendship with Jonathan. David, as king, had to defeat the enemies around him. And then David had his own son turn on him, Absalom. David went through a lot of things, a lot of battles, a lot of different issues. And in Psalm 55, it's a psalm that's a prayer. He says, "Give ear to my prayer, O God. Hide not thyself from my supplication. Attend unto me, and hear. I mourn in my complaint, and make a noise because of the voice of the enemy, because of the oppression of the wicked. For they cast iniquity upon me, and wrath they hate me." You know, that's what the wicked do. They try to take truth and twist it. They try to come against God's people with accusations and things of that nature. And David comes to a place where he says in verses 6 through 8, "If I had wings like a dove, then I could fly away and be at rest." He's just come to a point where he's weary. He's tired of the running, the fighting. He said, "Lo, I would wander far off and remain in the wilderness." And he comes down and he makes some specific requests to God about dealing with his enemy. You know, I think about some of our kids in college. They're dealing with a very wicked enemy that teach evolution over creation. They teach secular humanism over biblical Judeo-Christian ethics. They don't want to they take God out of everything. And so there's a lot coming against our college students. There's a lot coming against us as a society, as if you've watched any of the news lately. Not that we trust much of that, but David comes to verse 16. He says, "I'm just going to call upon the Lord. The Lord shall save me." He says, "Evening and morning and noon will I pray." And folks, I'll tell you, rather than try to react, we need to pray more when we face the enemy. But the two verses I want to get at, the last verse of the chapter, he says God's going to bring them down. Ultimately, David realized that God is in control. God is going to enact vengeance and take care of our enemies. We just need to trust him and be patient. But verse 22 is one of the key verses of the chapter. At the end, right before he realizes and comes to that conclusion, God's going to take care of the enemy, he says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." And many times we come to an altar at church and cast a burden at the feet of the Lord, and then right before we get up to go back to our seat, we take that burden right back to our seat with us. And we need to cast our burden on the Lord and leave it there. And that's what David said we need to do. And it involves faith. It involves faith. It involves trusting God to do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. So I hope you'll cast your burden on the Lord in the face of the enemy. And that's Light for the Day. God bless you.